I'll never forget you, John, but I will be trying.
Good riddance, smartass.
Don't go. Come back. John, I'm being sarcastic.
And just when I'm running for president. What a bummer.
What has 9.5 fingers and won't miss you at all? This guy.
I'm sure you'd be missed by somebody.
You know, there are a lot of things happening around the world that keep me up at night, which is why I've relied on you to put me to sleep.
I'm John Stewart. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. Yeah. So long, jackass.
A little payback for Jon Stewart's final show, the other big show on Thursday night. I'm back now with the roundtable. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I do want to stick on the debate, Mark Halperin. We heard Sarah Fagan say she thought some of the governors did well. What's your analysis of the other winners right here? It did seem that Marco Rubio, John Kasich did well. Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, kind of middling.
There's a lot of debates to go, and I think, Jeb Bush needs to do better than that if he's going to be the nominee. I don't think that performance was good enough, and I don't think most of his supporters or advisors think that was good enough. He was much better at Red State yesterday. None of these guys, the guys on the 10-person debate, are rising so far to the occasion, but it is the summer. And I think all of them left there, I think, having learned that even the people who got the best reviews, I don't think are strong enough at this point to win a general election, but there's plenty of time. We did see Carly Fiorina and that undercard John Howman do quite well in the first debate, but I want to take just a bit of issue with this idea that the summer debates, there's a lot of time. Of course, there's a lot of time left, but there's also no fact that the debates this time around do have the equivalent of like what the straw polls used to be, even an early primary.
Well, and with the Republican Party having restricted the number of debates, having only one per month, there aren't that many big debates like this, full-scale primetime debates between now and when the first votes are cast in Iowa. So I think they all matter a lot, and obviously that audience the other night was enormous. So I think it matters a lot. I think Carly Fiorina was the one person who broke through from the undercard. I cannot imagine how, one way or the other, she's not going to be on that main stage. Even if her polling numbers don't go up? I cannot see how they can not get the one woman in the race up there on that stage, especially given the dynamics that played out, the negative dynamics that played out in this last debate.
Well, I think she's earned the right to be there, but at the same time, you cannot have a debate with 15 people on the stage. It simply just isn't going to work. So there's got to be some level of criteria that these news organizations uphold.
So what do they do if she's still at 1-2%, not in the top 10?
She's not. I mean, in the aftermath, first of all, she had an audience of 6 million people for an undercard debate, which is, I think the numbers were the 4th largest primary debate ever on the undercard debate. Right. And the play that she got in the 3 days after is basically saying.
So she's going up, you think?
She got, after Trump, she got the most play in the entire conversation after that. I think she makes that average. She's in the top 10. And I think the person likely to drop out of the top 10, who barely made it in the last one, who didn't get anything out of it, is Chris Christie. Chris Christie, who was the leading candidate a year and a half ago, is likely not to make the top 10.
Despite that exchange with Rand Paul?
Well, he was strong. I thought Christie was quite strong.
I think in the aftermath that's been forgotten. Christie had 3.5%.
It's a fair point. In the aftermath of this debate, everything has been forgotten because the only thing anyone is talking about is Donald Trump. Here's to me what is the bigger concern about Trump. Is if you look at the way the delegate process works, you need over 1,000 delegates to win the nomination. The first 15 days, from February 1 through March 15th, we're going to decide 45% of our delegates proportionally. Right. And if we continue to see this noise in the system where nobody really breaks out, and all these delegates are decided proportionally, this is going to go very late. Very long fight.
You need 1,320 delegates, I believe, and that's why Ted Cruz is on this bus tour from South Carolina to Texas. Most of those delegates will be chosen during the process on March 1st.
He's got money, too.
He has that's right. And that's why I'm not discounting Ted Cruz in terms of his organization, his ability to break through.
Jeb Bush has money. Ted Cruz is strong.
Cruz and Bush both have money, and they're the only two really focused on a 35-state strategy going forward.
Money's not, okay, I'm going to speak a little heresy to all. Money is not going to matter in this race, right? I think as you go along in the primary process, momentum matters. And whoever gains momentum, even if they're getting outspent.
What if Sarah's talking about, what if you have split winners? What if a Scott Walker wins Iowa, a Jeb Bush wins New Hampshire, Marco Rubio wins South Carolina?
I think the longer this goes where you have a large candidate field, the more actually Donald Trump is helped in that process, the more other candidates are helped in that process, and the longer this goes. I agree with that. But I want to touch on one thing, which is we talk about all of this and how it's going to hurt the GOP and all that. If a Republican emerges from this process who is thoughtful, who is reasonable conservative, who is expansive in how they approach the country, that is going to give Hillary Clinton, if she's the nominee, a run for her money, because we don't talk a lot about her vulnerabilities. Here is somebody that is not liked by the country, that is distrusted by the country, and her current incumbent president has a disappointing.
Donna Brazil, let me bring that to you. But last night, Bernie Sanders, we saw him get spoken down in Seattle. Right after that event, 15,000 people in Seattle. There's a lot of energy.
And he's gone to Portland, he's gone to Oakland, and Bernie Sanders is really hot. He's hot right now, hot in terms of the passion of the Democratic Party, the passion of independence. But I want to go back to what Matt said about Hillary Clinton. Her numbers, she suffered since announcing her race. But you know what? Look at her favorabilities and compare it to some of the Republicans who've had more airtime. I'm not concerned about Hillary Clinton right now because I know she has an opportunity to regain all of that momentum once we start our debate process in October. But the Republican Party right now, they're being pulled so far to the right, I don't even think they're going to come back to the center.
15 seconds.
You cannot look at the enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders and not be worried if you're the Clinton campaign, and you can't look at her internal numbers, especially on honest and trustworthy. He could beat her in Iowa. He could beat her in New Hampshire, and then he can't beat her in the long haul.
Look at the apple
That is
dump the
Katie
Clinton
bar the door if
campaign
that
is doing
happens.
on
And you know what? That is all we have time for today. Thank you all. Thanks for sharing part of your Sunday with us. Check out World News Tonight. Come right back tomorrow for GMA.